Hi, welcome to your yoga class. We're going to get started. So, feel free to use a bolster, elevate the hips. And we're going to continue to work on the things that surround the spine to keep the spine upright and strong. Ella's going to hang out here today. And the dogs just can't see them, they're off camera right now. So, finding a really, really comfortable seat. Sit cross-legged, sit your legs out in front of you. Know that we're going to be here for a few minutes, so just find a comfortable place. Hands down for grounding, up for energy, Anjali Mudra, or whatever you like. So finding a spot out in front of you, someplace easy on the neck. We're just going to let our gaze hit that spot, and we're going to slowly count backwards from 10. And as we start to get lower, it's as if we're going downstairs. The body's just kind of relaxing until we get down to the last step. Maybe the eyes are slowly closing. And then we pause. And then we're slowly going to start to fold in the breath. So, big inhale, maybe lifting the shoulders up. Big exhale, everything melts away. Inhale, coming up. Everything's filling. And then exhale, letting it go. And then finding the rhythm inside your body that works best. Each time we exhale, we want a little bit more emphasis on the exhale than the inhale. So it goes a little bit longer. 5 or 6 more times here. When you're ready, we're going to switch to Ujjayi or victorious breath. So continue to inhale through the nose. We're going to seal the lips and then slowly, purposely exhale through the nose. And filling up. And releasing. And filling up. And releasing. And here too, just establishing the rhythm that works inside your body. About 3 more rounds of breath. Nice. So from here, if you're sitting on something, we're just going to take it away and come to a very comfortable seat. And we're just going to start to twist a little bit. So right hand comes forward, left hand comes back. And so from the side, it'll look like this. So you kind of prop yourself up. We're going to try to come up to the fingers so we're not dumping through the palms. As we inhale, we get a little bit taller, and exhale, slowly twist to the left. So this time, the pelvis is going to come with us. So the right hip is going to lighten up a little bit as it comes along. About 3 more rounds of breath here. Nice. And then when you're ready, lighten a little on the fingers, let the core bring you back. Switch it out. Right hand goes forward, left hand goes back. Inhale, getting a little bit taller. And then exhale, coming into the stretch. About 3 more rounds of breath. And then lightning low on the fingers, core slowly brings us back. And then we start cat-cow seated. So the concept behind this, poor neighbor, is to pretend like the pelvis is a singing bowl. So as we do cow pose, we're gonna tilt forward, spill out some of the water, and as we come into cat pose, we're gonna scoop up some of the water, come to a more neutral position. So we're gonna initiate cat-cow from the pelvis. So first we tilt forward, we spill out some of the water, and then we lift the heart up, that's our cow. And then we're gonna tilt the pelvis back, scoop up some of that water, come to a more neutral position, and then head comes down into cat. And we're gonna take that movement back and forth, but initiating it from the pelvis, the spine will automatically come along for the ride. About 3 more rounds of breath. Sorry, clearly I need some more coffee. Nice, then when you're done, come back to a little bit of stillness here. We're gonna take the hands out to the side and we're just gonna lift the bum up, place all that padding back down. And then we're gonna twist from side to side. Hey, Jill's here so we can tell the joke of the day. So left hand's gonna plant, right hand's gonna go sky high. So and then we're slowly gonna tilt. So this time, as we did before, the right hip is gonna lighten the load a little bit and come with us. So what do you say to a nut when it sneezes? Cashew! Nice, right? All those plant-based jokes, let me tell ya. Okay, so the hand that's rooted down, we wanna come up on spider fingers rather than dumping through the palm. So the core and the side are gonna pick up the extra and do a little bit more work. And then we're gonna push down, let the core slowly lead us up, other hand drops off, and then we just tilt like a windmill to the other side. Nice. Breath is nice and soft, and just be mindful you're tilting forward. Try to come back a little bit. Coming up on spider fingers. Other hip is gonna lighten a little bit, allowing for a deeper stretch on the side. 3 more rounds of breath. Nice, and then when you're ready, lighten a little on the fingers, let the core bring you back. Both hands slowly come back to the earth, and then make any wiggles. Do anything that feels good, and then we're gonna start to twist from left to right. So, right hand's gonna come forward, left hand's gonna come back, and we're just gonna twist from side to side, which I believe we already did, but we're just gonna do it again. Inhale, get a little taller, and then exhale, slowly twist. When you have the option here of letting the opposite hip lighten the load a little bit, or you can keep both hips down. Find what works best for you. 3 rounds of breath. Nice, and so from here, lighten the load of the fingers, core comes back, we just switch it out, do the other side. And here too, want to keep up on the spider fingers rather than coming through the palms. So maybe this is more a little bit of a short person problem, but you come up on the spider fingers, tend to get a little bit more engagement in the core. About 2 more rounds of breath here. And then we come out, we lighten a little on the fingers, let the core and the spine bring us back around. And then we move it out. Anything that feels good. And then we're slowly gonna roll over and coming to all fours. I'm gonna take my socks off because I want to be able to use my toes. So for all fours, you want to be nice and comfortable. So hips over knees, shoulders over elbows, and the wrists. Gaze is going to stay down. This time we're going to do the full cat-cow, but again, we're going to initiate from the pelvis. So pelvis is going to drop off the water, then we lift the heart, look up. And the pelvis scoops the water, comes back to our normal position, and then the gaze slowly drifts down, maybe come to fingers, maybe knees, maybe toes, maybe belly button. And then we're gonna go back and forth, but we're gonna come back into cow. We're gonna stay for 3 rounds of breath. So we're dropping off the water, lifting the heart. 3 rounds of breath here. And then when you're ready, scoop the water back up, pelvis comes back up, gaze slowly shifts. 3 rounds of breath here. And then we're gonna go back and forth. So you can choose 3 rounds of breath. You can choose breath to movement. Just do what feels best for you. And then we'll come back to a little bit of stillness here. So we're gonna come back to that serratus push-up that we've been working on. So the serratus anterior hooks underneath the scapula, comes out and wraps around like a serrated blade. Hence, that's why they call it a serratus, because it has that kind of serrated edge like a knife. So vice versa. So this is a very small movement. So you want to make sure that the wrists are directly underneath the shoulders or even slightly forward rather than back. And it's as if there's something heavy from right here to right where the top of the ribs hook in. And we're just going to drop this central part closer to the ground. And then when we lift it up, we lift that up and the shoulders taper off a little bit on the side. So it's a very small movement. So we're just gonna drop a little bit. So gaze is gonna stay down so there's no tension on the neck. And then we push through the palms, we lift that same, but the reverse on the spine up, and then we lower. So you can see when you look at what I'm doing, it's a very small movement, but we're actively working to isolate the serratus anterior. So this is a very important muscle. If you do push-ups or chaturanga dandasana, it's a big muscle. It's a big helper for that, for those moves. And maybe if you don't, but it wraps next to the spine and then comes outwards. You still want to keep it nice and strong. And just a couple more. And again, it's a very small movement. And when I first started to do this, it took me a long time to be able to dial in the exact movement to understand it. It's a progression. Nice, and then we're just gonna sit back. Wrists come out in front of us, and we're gonna do wrist rotations. Just take a little, show the wrist a little bit of love. They've been doing a little bit of support there. We just wanna be mindful of them. Any movement feels good, whether it's circles, fingers loose, fist, you choose. Nice. We're gonna come back to all fours. We're gonna turn the toes under, push down through the palms, inhaling here, lighten the load on the knees, and exhale, hips come up and back. Nice, we're coming into our downward facing dog. So feel free to walk it out. Maybe it's your first dog of the day. Just find a little bit of movement and love here. Heels don't have to reach. Nice. So slowly walking the hands back to meet the feet until the feet take the full brunt of the weight. You can soften the knees or keep them straight. And then we're just gonna fold forward. So we're gonna try to fold from the pelvis rather than the spine. Hands can press down. Hands can take opposite elbows to come into ragdoll pose. A little bit of movement or a lot of stillness, you choose. 2 more rounds of breath here. Nice. Then lighten the load on the hands. So take the hands down, release the bind. Push down through the feet, soften the knees. We're going to inhale up to mountain pose. And then slow, purposeful exhale, hands come to heart center. And we're going to do a couple of sun salutations. So we want the feet to be rooted. So maybe you lift the toes up and replant them down. And you shift the weight back and forth until you find your happy spot. Inhale back to mountain pose. Maybe you look toward the sky. Exhale, fold forward. So push down through the hips. Fold from the hips rather than the spine. Come back to that forward fold. 2 rounds of breath. Nice. Slowly walk the hands forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Heart comes through the bicep to the window panes. The window, yeah, just act like the biceps are window panes. Pull the heart forward. Nice. 1 more round of breath. And then slowly, slowly drop forward. Come back to that forward fold. And we're going to push down through the feet. Inhale back to mountain pose. Rise toward the sky. Exhale the hands to heart center. And we're going to do that again. Inhale, mountain pose. Reach for the sun. Exhale, fold forward. Hinging from the hips. Push down through the feet. Fold forward. 3 rounds of breath. Nice. Walk the hands forward. Inhale, halfway lift. 3 rounds here. If you want to add on, you're just straightening the legs. Shouldn't be any tension on the neck. So if there is, walk the hands back, drop the head up, come back to the forward fold. Nice. And then release into the forward fold. We're going to take the feet slightly wider apart and come back to ragdoll pose. You take your peace fingers, grab your big toes, push down through the big toes as you pull the fingers against the big toes. Elbows can come out. And just fold forward into your forward fold. Nice. Release the fingers, soften the knees. Inhale back to the mountain. Exhale the hands to heart center. Inhale, mountain. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice. And then we're just going to step the left foot back, slowly lower the shin down. So now the shin comes to the earth. You can turn your toes under, do shoelace side. And then from here, we're going to move into Anjaneyasana. So a couple of options here. You can walk your hands up your feet, or you can sweep your wings up. Totally up to you. Biceps come to the ears. Pinkies are going to turn slightly toward the back of the room. And we're here for about 5 rounds of breath. So we really want to be steady. And we want to figure out, are our feet in the right position? Do you want to walk them out a little bit more? Do you want to walk them out to the side and make the railroad tracks just a little bit wider? 2 more rounds of breath. Nice. So if the right knee's forward, left hand goes forward, right hand reaches back, revolve, twist. 5 rounds of breath here. So if you feel like you're getting a little bit wobbly, that's great. That's actually the core is going to start to pick up the slack. Breath is steady. Nice. So pushing down through the forward foot, down through the back shin. Inhale back to Anjaneyasana. 3 rounds of breath. Nice. So from here, we're going to hinge forward, hinging from the hips rather than the spine. Hands going to drop inside of the forward foot. Other hand's going to reach. Slight variation, revolve twist. And then once you're here, see if you can lighten the load on the hands, come to spider fingers rather than dumping through the palm. Two more rounds of breath left. Nice, and when you're ready, fold forward. Both hands are going to frame the forward foot. And we are just going to take both hands inside of the forward foot, coming into runner's lunge. So a couple options. You can stay up, come to spider fingers, you can roll to the outside edge of the forward foot. You can lower down. Whatever you choose, the breath shouldn't change. So if the breath changes, come back out of whatever you've done just a tiny bit so the breath can be first and foremost. We want that to anchor the body. Just about 3 more rounds of breath. So if this is too much, another option is to pull forward and pull back. You get cramping right at the hip flexor. Nice. So we're going to heel toe the forward foot. Other hand comes around, surrounds the forward foot. We're going to take the back foot, drag it forward, come back to the forward fold. Nice. Everything hangs out soft. You can choose ragdoll pose, big toes, peace fingers, or anything in between. Push down to the big foot. Inhale back to mountain. Exhale the hands to heart center. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, fold forward. So hinging from the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. 3 rounds of breath. Nice. And then when you're ready, other foot drops back. We slowly lower the shin down. And then we just figure out what we want to do. Do we want to move the forward foot a little bit forward? Move it to the side. And then we figure out how I want to come into Anjali asana. So we can walk up. We can rise up. Continue to push down through the feet and the back shin so you have that steadiness. 5 rounds of breath here. Nice. So when you're ready, as the left leg is forward, right hand comes forward, left hand goes back, revolve twist. Continue to push down through the feet, down through the shin. Give yourself that steadiness. Uh-oh. Hi, boo. That's Biscuit, or at least her tail. Inhale, back up. 3 rounds of breath here. So I've taken her her meditation cushion. It's supposed to be my meditation cushion, but she really likes to use it. Or not, now she's walking away. Okay. Now we're gonna hinge from the hips. If left foot's forward, right hand plants inside, opposite hand reaches for the sun. And then once we're here, we come up on spider fingers if we can. If this raised hand doesn't feel comfortable, you take the bind, hand can come to hip. Three more rounds of breath. Now the meditation cushion is just sitting out there like it's on strike. Nice, and we're slowly gonna lift back up. 3 rounds of breath here. Nice. Then when you're ready, hinging from the hips, we're slowly going to lower down. We're going to frame the forward foot and then walk the other hand in and slowly make our way to runner's lunge. So whatever we do on the first side, I want to try to match it on this side, just noticing the difference from left to right. About 2 more rounds of breath. Now when you're ready, we're just going to slowly heel to that foot in. Take the hands, frame both sides. Slowly step it back. Big inhale here. And exhale, glide back to child's pose. So for this one, we're going to make it a more active one. So we're going to stretch the hands in opposite directions as the bum. Going north and south. About 1 more round of breath. Nice, and then slowly coming back to all fours. And we're going to send the left leg back. Right leg is going to turn, so it's going to come underneath us. Other hand reaches for the sky. Just coming into a side plank. If you want to do the full side plank, feel free to just take the leg long and raise up. Sorry, that doesn't feel so great on my shoulder. So I'm going to do modified because I know what my shoulder does not like. Nice. So here, try to come up on spider fingers again. See, there's a little bit more engagement. 2 more rounds of breath. Nice. When you're ready, just cartwheel slowly down. Palms come back to the earth. We rotate back around to all fours and we come back to child's pose, but this time very passive. So butt goes toward the heels. Third eye comes down, hands come behind us. You can do up palm, down palm, but just melt, whatever you choose. 5 rounds of breath here. And then we're slowly going to come back to all fours and do the other side. So opposite leg goes long, other one rotates, and the other hand goes to the sky, to the hips, someplace in between. We come back to breath. So gaze is wherever's the most comfortable for the neck. And again, try coming up on spider fingers. About 4 more rounds of breath. Nice. So we're going to come down to the palm, create a little bit more steadiness. Cartwheel down, rotate back under, big inhale, and then you choose the child pose that you need. Do you need a big stretch? Do you need 5 breaths and a nice soft one? About 1 more round of breath. Nice, and then we're just going to pull ourselves forward and come to our belly. So we'll do Cobra first. So for Cobra, we want the third eye to be down on the mat. Couple options. You can do where the legs are together like a unicorn horn, come a little bit wider apart. Hands come parallel to the shoulders. Elbows are going to lift up like you have grasshoppers, and they're going to hug the side of the body. Nice. So as we push down through the shoelace side of the feet, we're going to lift up a little bit, but we're only going to see the floor. So if you can see your friend, your light socket or anything, come up a little bit too far. And then the key for Cobra is little to no pressure in the palms. Continue to push down through the shoelace side of the feet. About 3 more rounds of breath here. Nice. And then when you're ready, just slowly lower down. Right cheek on the mat, heels come apart, arms go long. Just allow the body to relax. About 1 more round of breath there. Nice. When you're ready, we're slowly going to come back. And we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So for Sphinx, shoulders are over elbows, forearms are into the ground, middle finger is facing forward. Same option. You can do unicorn horn with the legs, slightly wider stance, see what feels good. Maybe lift up a little bit, nice and situated, and then push down through the forearms, lift the heart. This time we're looking at the light socket a little above. So there shouldn't be any tension in the neck, and we feel like this tensing in between the shoulder blades. Maybe take a slightly wider approach with the arms. About 3 more rounds of breath. And if you want to add on, you can always push into the palms, work to straighten the elbows. Just an option. Nice, and we're slowly going to lower back down. So opposite cheek's going to come to the mat. Arms go along beside us, heels open up. Here for about 5 rounds of breath. Nice. Slowly coming back. We're going to slowly push ourselves up. And we're going to come into a forward fold. So legs are out in front of us. So we want to make sure that padding underneath us is helping us. So we're just going to push down through the palms, lift the palm up, lower down, get that padding back underneath there. And you can choose, flex the toes, point the toes. So we want to move the pelvis, like coming back to the analogy of the singing bowl, rather than dipping through the spine. So you can take your hands right into where the hip crest is, and then the back thumb can just go back closer to the SI joint, just for a little bit of steadiness. Nice. So we're going to lift the heart up. That's our inhale. And our exhale, we're going to hinge from the hips. So the heart and the head are going to stay up as we hinge. Nice. And you can release the hands. You take the hands out to the side. You can walk yourself forward a little bit, continuing to initiate the movement from the pelvis. And then you can start to drop the belly onto the thighs and then choose which way you want to do the toes. So toes flexing back to your own heart, a little bit more of a stretch along the backside. Pointing the toes will release the back extensors a little bit, maybe providing a little bit more movement. 3 more rounds of breath. So when you're ready, try to just bring the hands to heart center. We're going to pull back as if you're pulling from the serratus anterior where we were working earlier. Pelvis is going to come back to a little bit more of a seated neutral position. Nice. And then we're going to take the foot, bring it into the inner thigh. So we're really trying to get it as far up there as possible. See, that makes it a little bit clearer. Nice. So if this is not super comfortable, take it out a little bit, and a little bit of comfort though. And from here, we're going to flex the toes back toward our own heart. Fingers come out in front of us and spider fingers. We're going to inhale, come up, and exhale, hinging from the hips. So it may not be as far forward a movement as we did earlier because we have the knee that's rooted down, the thighs rooted down. There's a little bit of variation along the toes. Nice, the tush. And then 5 rounds of breath. So we're just slowly trying to creep forward rather than dropping the head off. We're trying to drop the belly first. Okay, when you're ready, so you can bring your hands back to Anjali Mudra. Slowly pull up. Nice. And then we're going to twist out a little bit. So if your left knee's bent, we're going to rotate over the left side. Right hand's going to come across the back knee. Other hand's going to come in back like it's holding us up on spider fingers. Big inhale. And then exhale, twist. And then here we're going to use the breath to deepen the twist. So each inhale, we're getting a little bit taller. Each exhale, we're trying maybe on just a minute scale, trying to deepen the twist. And then we inhale, we get taller. We exhale, we twist. And just about 2 more of these. Nice. And then when you're ready, lighten the load on the hands. Allow the core to bring you back. And then see, without using the hand, if you can just put the leg back forward, and then we'll do the other side. So drawing the leg up, find that position that works for you. Come back to steady breath, hands come out in front of you. Inhale, lifting the heart up, and exhale, pivoting from the hips. So the belly's gonna come first. 5 rounds of breath. And you can point, flex, do what feels best. Being mindful of the knee. About 3 more rounds of breath. And when you're ready, lighten the load of the fingers. Hands to Anjali Mudra if you can. Slowly lift up. Nice. Complete round of breath here. Just kind of reset before we move into the twist. And then you're ready. 1 hand forward. 1 hand back. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, twist. And then here, this side, we're going to use the breath as an aid to help the twist. So, inhaling, getting taller. Exhale, deepening the twist. And then just continuing, finding what works for you. Got 1 more here. And lightening the load on the fingers, slowly coming back around. And see if we can release the foot without touching it. Nice. And then we're gonna take a slightly wider stance. Lift the butt up, let all that padding come back. Hands come out in front of us. We're just gonna pull ourselves forward. But again, we're initiating the movement from the pelvis. So we're tilting from the pelvis rather than dropping the head off. And then choose, you come down on forearms, you stay up on spider fingers, but we're here for about 6 or 7 rounds of breath. if you want, you can reach out a little bit farther after the body's settled into it. And then whatever position you come into, see if you can use the core to lift yourself up rather than let the hands. Nice. So, one leg, two legs, and then from here, we're going to slowly lower down. Nice. And we're going to do bridge pose before we head over to locust. So, walking the heels in toward the bum. Maybe you take your hands, tap the heels. So heels should be underneath the width of the hip. Should be able to push down through the big toes so the knees aren't coming apart. You can decide you want robot arms, so that's the triceps pushing in, hands along the side. And then we're gonna keep our gaze straight on top of us rather than looking across the knees or looking back, so there's no tension on the neck. As we inhale, we push down through the feet. Exhale, we drive the hips toward the sunlight. And then once you feel steady here, you can choose. You can shimmy your shoulders underneath you. Come back to robot arms. And then we're gonna hang out here. And then just be mindful of feet. Everything's switching to the outside edge and the knees are opening wide. And if that is the case, try to push down through the heel and then down through the big toe, drawing the knees in a little bit back to where we started. 3 more rounds of breath here. When you're ready, separate the hands. Slowly lower down from top to bottom. So we want it to be a slow movement. So sometimes coming up with the toes, that helps. Slow, slow movement until we reach the earth. And then we heel toe the feet apart, about the width of the mat, and then we knock the knees together, coming into broken bridge. And clearly I've done something interesting because here comes Biscuit. Hi, baby. How you doing? About 2 more rounds of breath, and then we'll do bridge again. Always the option for a wheel. Nice, so hands come back down. We're just gonna heel toe everything back together. So they're right where we started. Knees are underneath the hips. Gaze is directly on top of us. And then push down through the feet. As we inhale and exhale, hips drive upward. And then we decide we want to shimmy the shoulders underneath there. Robot arms. Choose what works best for you. Breath should still come nice and easy. So it can be a little bit harder, but we still want the breath to be the primary focus. About 3 more rounds of breath here. So just remember in this, the chest is heading toward the chin rather than the chin heading toward the chest. And by keeping the eyes above us, directly above us, that's one way we are able to maintain that. And then when you're ready, maybe this time arms go overhead like you're taking a good morning stretch. Maybe the heels lift, and then you slowly, slowly melt into the mat. And this time when you do get there, go ahead and come into Supta Baddha Konasana. So heels come together, feet come together, knees expand out, one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Got 3 more rounds of breath or kisses or doggy rubs, you choose. I'm sorry. Nope. Nice. So we are going to fold over, roll over into locust. So grab underneath your knees, and we're just gonna rock and roll back and forth. Gonna use a little bit of momentum. Hey, pumpkin. And we're gonna come back to our belly. You guys were so helpful. Thank you. I still have a few more things to do. Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. So, what we want is the belly into the mat. You can do unicorn horns, slightly wider stance. We're going to take the arms out in front of us Third eye is going to come down. Complete round of breath here before we move on. And then when we hit that second, when we inhale, we lift up as if we're flying. Gaze is not going to go very far up, so we're looking at where the floor and the wall meet. And we're just kind of flying along here. 3 more rounds of breath. And then when you're ready, just melt down. Right cheek comes to the mat. Arms come nice and soft to the side. Heels flop open. You can tell the difference when you bring the heels together versus flopping them apart, the tension in the back. One more round of breath there. And we're going to come right back. We're going to do that one more time. Arms come out. Third eye comes down. Shoelace side is rooted. Complete round of breath to prepare. And then we inhale, we fly along. Three more rounds of breath. And just know that this time as we come down, we're going to go to the other cheek. And then we slowly lower down. Arms come to the side. Everything melts. And then we're slowly going to come back up. So I want to see stars when we do this. And we're going to come to a crouch and curl position. So for crouch and curl, we're just literally balancing on the toes. So you can take your hands out in front of you, drop the head off, or you can wrap around and then drop the head off. So one of the benefits of wrapping is that if the weight shifts to the pinkies and the knees come open, the wrapping can bring everything back together. So there's a little more pressure on the big toes, which are a really strong force to be able to drive into the earth. Nice, and from here, we're just slowly gonna fall off to the earth. Nice. And then we're just gonna melt back into our mat. Nice, then we're gonna come into happy baby. So, knees come into this side body. And we can grab underneath the knees, on top, shin, ankle, inner arch, outer arch, toes, whatever you want. And then we're actually pulling the knees to the side body. And then we're gonna hang out here for a little bit. So, movements, straighten the legs, straighten both. Maybe come to a little Baddha Konasana. And you can play with lifting the pelvis a little bit, as if you're scooping the water up and coming to a neutral. Or you can just sit in happy baby in complete stillness. Nice. So from here, we're going to bring the knees together. We're going to bend them. And we're going to a couple options. You can grab underneath the knees. You can grab on top. And we're going to lift the head up this time, just coming to this nice tight ball here. Try to stay for 2 rounds of breath. And then when you're done with that, just slowly let the upper back melt back down. Head comes back to the mat, gaze is straight up. Legs go long separately. So we want a slow movement as we move into our Shavasana. Finding the position that works for us. And just know that we're here for about 3 minutes. And I will sound the singing bowl when it's done. Always know if you don't want to lay down for Shavasana because it's early in the day or you just don't want to. Just come to a nice seated position. Whatever you choose, everything gets soft. Breath is relaxed. If you're ready to rejoin what I hope is a really beautiful day for you, just bring a smile to your face. And then conserving your energy, just roll over to whatever side is calling to you, it doesn't matter. And then from there, slowly make your way to a seated position. Hands down for grounding, up for energy, Anjali Mudra, maybe a different mudra. And we'll take 3 rounds of breath as a community. So as we inhale, we get light, we fill up. As we exhale, we melt. Inhale, filling up. Exhale, letting go. One more time, big inhale, everything gets filled. Big exhale out. Then if you wish, maybe thumbs to third eye. And exchange the word Namaste. Namaste, friends. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Thanks for supporting Synergy and myself. And I hope you guys have a marvelous day and enjoy the sunshine. Namaste.